Going to be doing a honey orange barbecue beef short rib today. Now, I'm using a rib cut that is known by many names, actually 3 names that I know of. Some people refer to this as the Miami short rib. Some people refer to it as the Korean or Kalbi short rib. Some people refer to it as a flanking style, the flanking cut. And basically all it is your short rib plate. That section, that's your dino bones. And I don't know why people call it dino. It's spelled D-I-N-O, and I'm thinking dinosaur, so I'm thinking Dino, Fred Flintstone's pet. Is it dino bones or dino bones? Y'all let me know in the comments. Anyway, this is cut across the bones. They're normally a 1/4 inch or less. I think what I have today is a little bit less, but right at a 1/4 inch. The ones that I have were supplied by Crowd Cow, and they come from the Yamamoto Ranch in Palestine, Texas, and they are American Wagyu. This is 100% black Wagyu, beautiful looking meat. And what I'm doing is I'm doing 2 styles. And what I mean by 2 styles, I'm actually doing an experiment. This is typically a tough cut of meat, so I'm actually soaking some of these in a pickle juice. That's right, they're in there soaking right now. They've been soaking for about 3.5 hours. You really don't want to go beyond 3.5 to 4 hours because they could get to where they're mush, to where the texture changes too much. All we're trying to do is just break down the texture a little bit, some of the connective tissue, and make them more tender. And the rest of them I'm doing without any kind of marinade. We're just going to do them like you normally would, and that's just hot and fast grill. Then I am going to apply sauce and let that sauce sit, and we're going to call it a done deal. Now, with all that said, the Korean style, they do marinate for like 8, 10, sometimes 24, up to 48 hours in a special marinade that includes a Korean pear, which helps break down the connective tissue as well. So we're not doing the Korean style. If you'd like to see me do that, I've got a video I did a couple of years ago. I'll have a link in the description box for that video. Excellent flavor on those. We're going to get started with this here in just a few minutes. Going to get our fire going, and we'll be right back. All right, so here are the ribs that have not been brined in the pickle juice. They still have a very nice color, and you can see the intense marbling, hence black Wagyu. This is American Wagyu, raised right there in Texas. We're putting on salt, pepper, garlic. Now this is really thin. We're only going to season one side, and this is the side here. Now under all these, by the way, I'm off the heat. The heat's over to my right. I'm just going to remove these. Now look at that. That is the ones that have been brining for the last 3.5 to 4 hours in pickle juice. And as I said earlier, this is strictly an experiment. Hopefully we do not detect a pickle flavor. My wife didn't agree with that. She said, I hope it does. I've actually had steak that was marinated, like tough steak, round steak, marinated in pickle juice many years ago. It was grilled and it was good. And that's kind of what gave me the idea. I think it's pretty known fact that people will marinate or brine chicken in pickle juice quite often, mainly down here in the South. And some people even use sweet tea. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and remove this. I've got to keep these separated. We're going to lower this. I got my grill grates in place over the top of this fire. We're going to get real close. We're going to let that heat up for a moment. It already looks smoking hot to me, and ooh yeah. All right, we're going to start with the pickled version first. Let's go seasoning down. You can flip these just as much as you need to. All right, we're just gonna let them go for a couple of minutes. Like I said earlier, normally Korean style ribs, they are marinated, not just for flavor, but also to get that tender bite on these, because typically this is a tough cut of meat. I'm not so sure with this Wagyu. I think it will be naturally more tender. Looking good. Go a couple more minutes on that side. Seriously, these things are so thin. 4 minutes, 4-minute ribs, man. That's what you got, 4-minute ribs, and they're done. 2 minutes on each side. All right, I'm gonna pull these off to the side. And I've got to remember, these are the pickle ribs. Yes, sir, we are screaming hot. All right, so we're just gonna raise this grill up and get it away from that extreme heat. So I'm placing the pickle marinated version here. And we're gonna put some of the other non-brine, non-marinated. Ooh, those smell good. We're gonna place them up this side. So this glaze that I'm using, I have equal parts of 1/2 cup of your favorite barbecue sauce, 1/2 cup of orange juice, 1/2 cup of honey, and about a tablespoon of butter. You heat this up, melt it all in until you get a good consistency. And this is what we're going to use as our glaze. It's going to put a nice barbecue orange type flavor in it. The honey is going to provide the sweet. We now have this high enough above the fire to where it's not going to burn the sugars in the honey, but instead it's going to help this. It's going to help this set up and glaze this beef. Smelling really good. A little different play on the flanking style short ribs from what you normally see. You could also just use your favorite barbecue rub along with your favorite barbecue sauce. I mean, after all, this is still barbecue beef ribs. It's just cut in a certain fashion. Like I said earlier, across the bones. You can see the bones there. Now we're gonna let this set for a few minutes and we're gonna flip them over and do the other side. All right, so I'm gonna give all these a good flip to start with. That glaze really isn't gonna set up until it's on the hot side, which is down. Then we're gonna glaze this other side and we'll flip it one more time to set that side and we're gonna call them done. The meat's already fully cooked. If they taste anything like they smell, we're in for a treat. All right, this is my youngest son. He's over here at the house. So I'm gonna get him. He wasn't even out here. He knows nothing about what I'm doing. And so you know, these are what they call beef short ribs, or cut flanking style. Some people call them Korean, like Calbee style and even Miami style. Now, normally on Korean style, they're marinated for a long period of time to help make them tender. This is Wagyu, American Wagyu, by the way. Okay. Now, under here, I've got some that I'm marinated, and I'm not going to tell you what because I don't want it to influence what you're going to say. Just grab one of these, bite into it, tell me about the flavor, how tender it is, if it's even tender. It looks to be a little chewy.
It's falling right off the bone.
Okay.
That sweet flavor is real good.
You taste orange in it?
Mm-hmm.
Does it taste good?
Yeah, it's very good.
Is it real tough,
excellent.
Or is it good?
Well, flank is actually fairly tender.
Yeah, it's not flank, it's flanking style.
Flanking.
It's beef short ribs. You know the big dino ribs?
Yes.
I call them dino ribs. It's cut across the bone.
Yeah, it's very tender actually.
All right, now just set those off to the side somewhere. Reach in there and grab one of these and tell me if there's any different flavor that you're picking up on and if it's more tender. I can tell it's more tender just by the way you pulled on it. Is the texture different?
There is.
There's a different flavor?
Oh yeah, much different flavor.
What does it taste like? Is it better, worse?
It's really good. I mean, it's hard to weigh out the goodness of each piece of
Is it
meat.
more tender? That's what I'm shooting for.
It is.
A lot more tender.
Mm-hmm.
Did I give up any of the texture on it?
No.
Okay. It's more tender like a good steak would be.
Yes, it is.
Is the flavor drastically different, or
You can tell a big difference between them.
a big difference between them? But is it still good?
It is. It's really good.
All right. Now I'll tell you what I've done. That last one you had was marinated in straight pickle juice for 4 hours.
That's that taste.
You taste pickle?
I taste the vinegar and pickle.
Okay. All right. My turn. Which one do you prefer? Honestly.
I love food.
I know you love food, but
I'm a
which,
foodie, so
if you had to pick only one, which one would it be? Which one did you like the most? You have to have a favorite.
I guess I had to go with the orange. I like that real.
They both
flavor
have the
it
same
to it.
glaze on them. They both had the orange glaze on them.
Oh, okay. Well,
But the pickle was masking
pickle,
over.
yes.
Okay. All right, so let's try one of these first. Ooh, that one's hot. I guess they're all the same heat. Let me get one of these smaller ones that might not be as hot. I didn't realize they were still that hot. Here we go. That's really not tough at all.
it's not.
And remember, this is Wagyu, and that probably has everything to do with that right now. All right, hang on. That's a little hot. Yeah, I taste pickle. It's good.
The vinegar
I
stands
taste
out.
it. And guess what? It's not a bit more tender in my opinion. To me, they were the same. I don't care for the pickle flavor. It was an experiment. I have had it on thicker steaks, and it does break it down, they say. You know, I know it breaks down chicken to the point of overcooking if you go too long. It'll actually start cooking it. Let me put that one back on the bottom so I remember which one that is. So I'm going to pick the top one without the pickle as mine. I would eat it any one, but those top ones were excellent. Fantastic. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Give you a different idea on how to use the flanking steak. And hey, give it a try sometime. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, smoke your ribs.